So you saw part 1 and part 2 of this. So I told you I started off, my first skill on ball was just standing around shooting jump shots. My second skill, once my athleticism came into full bloom, was I was just an athletic player, running and jumping and dunking and grabbing rebounds, and that was my thing. And I started really just neglecting outside shooting because I didn't need it. I dominated in my college years just through my athleticism. So then, even into the start of my career playing overseas, I was just dunking. I was shooting. I would shoot outside shots, and I can make outside shots. But the thing that made me stand out from other players on the court was the fact that I could play above the rim and could play above even players who were taller than me. That was my thing. Like I said, professional level athleticism. When I was playing in Montenegro, this is when I was about 25, 26 years old. I was playing in Montenegro in the gym there. First of all, Montenegro, the city I was in is called Herceg-Novi, which is right on the Bay of Kotor, it feeds into the, damn, I forgot the name of that body of water, but that feeds into the Mediterranean Sea. So it's not that cold there in the wintertime. Not that cold. It gets to it's in like the 50s in the winter, which is not crazy cold, but it's still pretty cold if you don't have heat. Like the 50s, you don't walk around with no heat on when it's the 50s outside, right? Even when you're in the house. So the gym there was a brand new gym, but the heating system didn't work. It just didn't work. The heat didn't work. So we in the gym and it's cold, even though it's a brand new shiny gym, the heat wasn't never on. And I would ask them, and the coach didn't even speak English. Most of my teammates didn't speak English. And I would ask them like, yo, why is the heat not on? And to them, it was just a normal thing. It was normal for them to have a gym without heat. They were used to, we practice with hoodies on. Like I'll be in practice wearing a hoodie. The coach would have on a coat in practice. I never seen the coach without a coat on. This dude had on a coat every time I seen this. He had this bright blue coat that was like a full length. It was like a full length joint, not a trench coat, but like a kind of like a puffy coat, but a full length coat down to like his shins. And he wore that joint all the time. Every time I seen him, he had on the damn coat, even in the gym. So we practicing in the gym. It's cold, but I'm the only American on the team. Any of you watching this, you never played overseas, understand that when you're the only American, especially when you're the only American, but even if it's more than one, they're watching you more than they're watching everybody else. And if you half-ass or you don't look like you really that good, maybe because you're not trying so hard, you can lose your job off of practice. You can lose your job off of bad practice performance. Not a game. I don't know, it's not a game, but from practice, you can lose your job. I've seen players get fired from a team that they signed with before they even played in the game because they didn't look so good in practice. Like the team is looking at you every single day, even in the practices that seem like they bullshit, you're being watched. So you can't bullshit, especially when you're the only one, because now you know everybody's watching you. So I knew that by this point of my career playing in Montenegro. So even though that gym was cold, and I told you my thing was athleticism, we in practice and I'm jumping, I'm dunking, I'm like making myself do it because I'm like, yo, this is the thing that makes me stand out, and this is the way that makes me, if somebody's watching, they can see like, yo, this dude is better than all these other players, was my athletic ability. So I couldn't go kind of easy. And sometimes the older players on the team would be like, we'd be doing like a layup drill and I'd be dunking, and the older players be like, yo, chill, you going too hard. And I'd be like, man, y'all don't understand. I know what happens when an American player try to take it a little bit too easy. And even though the team said to me, like the manager and the coach said to me, like, look, we already decided to sign you. We're keeping you. We're not, evaluating you every day. They told me that up front when I first got there. But I was like, okay, but I still didn't believe them because I had seen it happen already. I was like, fuck that. This overseas now, I worked too hard to get this opportunity. I'm not taking nobody's word for shit. If I just go too hard, I'll just make the mistake of going too hard. So that's what I did every day in practice. And we practiced, mind you, twice a day. We had games once a week. Every Saturday we had a game. And we practiced, got off on Sunday, and we practiced twice a day at like 8 in the morning and at 5 in the evening, Monday through Friday, every single weekday. So that's 10 practices for every one game. And this was all the time. Wasn't no holidays, all the fucking time. And even if we had an off day, if I could get on the court, if I can get some extra time on the court, I would go in the gym and get some extra time on the court. So I'm pushing my body hard. And I mean, this is the reason why you train the off season, so you can do this. So I get home that summer, coming back from Montenegro, and my knees was like shot. I mean, my knees was killing me. I had bad tendonitis in my knees when I got home from Montenegro, and it was only because, like, if any of y'all know anything about tendonitis, and players often ask me about it, it's something that you develop it by overuse. If you use your knees a lot, especially playing a sport like basketball, you could develop tendonitis. A lot of basketball players get tendonitis. Listen, some of your favorite players who play in games every night in the NBA have tendonitis like right now, and they still play in the games and they still practice every day because they know that it ain't going away. If you use your knees a lot, especially something like ball, like the human body was not made to play basketball, it starts beating your knees up. So I had really bad tendonitis when I got back home that summer, and my athleticism was like gone. I couldn't sprint as fast as I wanted to. I couldn't really jump. It just hurt. Every time to load up to jump, it hurt. It hurt to sprint. It hurt to be running in one direction and stop and come back the other direction. It hurt. That all those agile moves, all that agility stuff, all that stuff was just killing me because I had been working my knees so hard in that cold ass gym. And if any of y'all ever tried to play a sport without warming up, because it's like when you play in somewhere that's cold, you never warm up. So I never got warm, but I was in there dunking all the time. So it was really fucking my knees up. But I had to do what I had to do for my career. So I get home, my knees are terrible. I remember I went to a LA Fitness to just play. I just shoot around by myself, but some dude was in there. He wasn't even a ball player like that, but he was kind of athletic. He was like a football kind of athletic, but he liked basketball. We was playing like one-on-one. He was out jumping me for rebounds. I was trying to dunk. I couldn't get up to the rim. He was just, his athleticism was making me like I was average, and I was way more athletic than him at my best, but he was more athletic that day. And I'm like, I thought my athleticism was gone. I really thought it wasn't coming back. So that summer, that's when I really started working on my jump shot again. And this was the same summer. This is around the time when the Redeem team played in Beijing in the Olympics. And I remember watching Kobe and how he was just, and this is when Kobe really started shooting threes a whole lot more. He was making all these jump shots because, you know, in the international competition, you got to have those 3-point shooters. So I remember watching him making all those threes. That inspired me to start working on my shot more. So I just started working on my jump shot. I spent that whole summer after Montenegro just working on my jump shot. It's 2 things I did. That was one. And the other thing was I got all this off the court athletic training equipment. So I got jump rope, weighted vest, lateral resistor. That's like the thing you put around your ankles and you do defensive slides. I got that. I got some cones. I got a speed parachute. And y'all seen videos on YouTube of me using all this stuff. That was the summer when I went and purchased all this stuff because I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna lose my athleticism, I'm gonna make sure I go down swinging. I'm gonna spend this whole summer working on it and see if I can get some of it back. So I spent that whole summer working on it, and it kind of sort of came back in spurts, but really I spent that summer mostly just focusing on my jump shot because I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna continue to play pro basketball, I gotta have something that makes me valuable. So if it ain't gonna be jumping and running, jumping over people and running past people, then it's gonna be my shot and my handle. So I worked on my handle on my shot that whole summer, and I turned from the athletic dunking dude to a shooter that summer. That's when I turned back into a shooter. So it's kind of like I said, going back to the future. I went from being a shooter to an athletic dude who didn't shoot to being a shooter all over again. And people didn't even know about the athletic part of my game. So the whole last half of my career, people knew me for that outside shot. And if you ever seen any of my highlights from playing in Montenegro, you've seen most of my highlights was shooting jump shots. So during that time, even though I had the athleticism on that team, they really just wanted me to shoot. Because I remember my first practice, I was just hitting all kinds of 3-pointers. I didn't miss a shot my first practice, because that to me was like the audition, even though I was already signed. That was the audition. I hit all them threes, and from that point, they just had this, it's like I told you in the other video, you just get this reputation because they seen you do it one time. This one day I'm making all these threes, so they was just looking at me like I'm this amazing shooter. They was looking at me like I was Steph Curry, Ray Allen. So anytime I didn't shoot an open three, the coach would be like, no, don't drive to the hole, shoot that three. Shoot that every time. So all they wanted me to do was shoot. So that's all I did in Montenegro was shoot J's. I didn't even drive to the hole like that. And all my highlights is there is outside shooting. And so then I get home, knees messed up, worked on my shot even more, and the last half of my career, I was really killing people on the, well, when I was killing with that outside shot. So that's part 3. All of this is going around my book. I told you I was coming out. It's called Work on Your Game, Using the Pro Athlete Mindset to Dominate in Business, Sports, and Life, coming out February 22nd. Amazon has it discounted today down to $17. So I suggest you get it now, because that price may go back up, may go back down. You never know. Amazon changes the prices however they feel like it. So don't say I didn't tell you. That book is called Work on Your Game. All the details is down there. The link's down there. Work on yours. Dre all day.